Welcome to Behind the Filter. I got a new episode with you today, and today I have a very special guest of mine. Her name is Nina Klemm. Welcome. So excited to have you on. There's so many things we're going to be talking about, just because I feel like you are such like a boss ass bitch, basically. Like just
well,
being an entrepreneur and doing all the things you've done, and like your stint on reality TV and all of that stuff. So I want to get all into it, of course.
Let's do it.
But I want to first kind of start talking about, just because I love to learn about people's backgrounds and where they're from. So you're not originally from Indianapolis.
Nope. Originally
Where are you from?
The East Coast. Boston.
That's right. It was Boston. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Born and raised, East Coast.
There we go. Okay, yeah, because I remember that now because I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, we had that conversation.
Yes,
New York. Oh my God, I miss the East Coast. I miss the food, but
I miss the food. I don't know if I miss anything else.
You don't. I miss the people.
Well, yeah. Okay.
They're so real, raw. You know, everybody. There's no filter.
Yes,
no,
that's true.
Nobody. Pussyfoots around people's feelings.
Yeah.
Just say it the way that it is.
I mean, that's the one thing, because I know between there and obviously Indiana, it's like night and day
Completely.
in terms of like culture, diversity, all of that stuff.
I had a culture shock when I first moved here.
That's what
I was like, and people would make fun of my accent. So I've actually learned how to pronunciate words.
Oh, really?
And then I had to learn how to, because from East Coast, you're like you go like 100 miles a minute. And so then people would be like scared of me and like, oh, where are you from? Your accent? Are you from New York? And I'll be like, no, I'm from Boston. And then they would like make fun of me. So I started talking slower and enunciating because it was hurting my feelings. I was like, why does nobody like my accent?
Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
It wasn't at the time, but it's funny now.
I left New York when I was 9, so it's like I don't really have an accent, but apparently my Latina accent comes out when I drink.
Or when you get around like family.
Like,
does it come out when you get around family?
Yes.
Yeah. If I go back out east, I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I'll be like, oh, did I just say that? Like, so I could totally relate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it comes out every once in a while for me, but I think it's because I did TV and radio, so I have that like news personality, like professionalism talking, I guess. I don't know. So people before, like when I did my stints on TV and then they didn't realize I was on TV, they were like, oh, we didn't know you could speak like that. And I was like, are you crazy right now? Yeah. Why would you say something like that to me?
Because people are ignorant.
I know, so ignorant. So did you stay your whole entire, like, did you grow up in Boston? Like, how long were you there for?
So I was pretty much there my whole life. I grew up like, it's probably about like 15, 20 minutes from Boston. Mm-hmm. It was Lawrence and Lowell, and it's kind of like where, I grew up. And I say Boston because if I say Lawrence and Lowell, people will be like, what are you talking about?
Right,
I'm from Boston. It's just easier that way. But I moved to Indiana when I was married at the time.
Okay.
And
that's right. Same thing here.
Yes. And I when he first was like, we just got married, and at the time, he was playing for the Patriots, and his family was here, and we were married. We just had a baby, our first child, and so he was like, you know what? Let's live in Indy half the year, and then Boston half the year. So we get like half the year with your family, half the year with my family. And I was like, Indiana? I was like, is there like anything besides farmland? Like not trying to be mean, but like coming from the East Coast,
that's what you think.
That's what you think. Mm-hmm. So it was a culture shock for me. Like I was like, man, it was pretty hard. And then I was like 6 months in, where we lived like half the year here, but when we moved here like full time, then and I love my ex-husband. He's my best friend to this day. Like we're super tight, but it was like, hey, I love you, but I don't want to be married to you anymore, so I'm gonna leave. And then I was like, oh my God, I just got here. I've only been here for 6 months.
And now you're stuck here.
And now I'm stuck here. Like literally, it's like, do I take my boys? Do I move back to Boston? And it was kind of a little bit of a cluster.
Wow.
It was crazy.
I can't believe how similar stories are, because like same thing, like I stayed out here because I was married, and then we got divorced, and now we share custody, and so that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Like if it wasn't for that, I would have moved.
Where would you have moved to? Look at me. Now I'm interviewing. Where would you have moved to?
First of all, somewhere warm.
Okay.
Although, you know what? I actually finally just went to Chicago a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it, but it's so freaking cold.
It's the windy city.
I know. It was awful, but I probably would go somewhere in Florida.
Okay, you went from you went from like, okay, maybe like someplace warm. Oh, I like Chicago. Like Squirtle. Okay.
If I had to go to a cold place, it would be Chicago. If not, I would go I would go to Florida, some part of Florida probably.
Okay.
Or I have even thought about like just moving back to Puerto Rico where my family is.
Oh, well, if you do that, can I come with you?
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Cool.
So you're out here in Indiana.
Yeah.
You decide like to kind of plant yourself here. You don't want to move back.
Well, I kind of did want to move back, but all right, so to make a completely long story short, because I could go on forever, okay? But all right, before I moved here, I had a business and I had a clothing line. So I would work with a lot of professional athletes, a lot of news broadcasters, and it was a menswear line.
Okay.
So when I ended up going through the divorce, I was like, okay, I can't do fashion in Indiana. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, like I said, no offense to Indiana. Right. It's just like at the time, we're talking hard. 14 years ago, it was just not going to work. And so I was like, what do I want to do? Like, do I want to bring my voice back to the East Coast? What do I want to do? So I'm a prayerful person. I love me some Jesus. He's my homie, okay? So I was just like praying one day and fasting. I could swear to God, true story. I swear, I cannot make this up. So I was praying and fasting, and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I got 2 kids to support. You know, I have no family here. And I kid you not, true story. So I really heard the voice of the Lord, like, you need to get in real estate. And my first thought was like, I don't even like real estate. I don't even like paperwork. That is not the Lord. Like, that was just not the Lord.
Hey, but when the Lord tells you something, you gotta
listen.
On it.
You gotta listen. So I like mulled over it, whatever. So I called the realtor at the time who had my house listed, and this is like hilarious because I was like, hey, I was like, you know, I was praying and I just really feel like the Lord said go into real estate. Like, what do you think? And she's like, well, you know, I don't believe in all that stuff, but here you go, call this person. And I was like, okay. So I ended up calling this guy. His name's Ed Gallagher, God rest his soul. Like, and I sat down with him and I just was like, I felt the peace of the Lord. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So then everybody in my church at the time was like, oh, honey, that is not the Lord. They did not tell a single woman with 2 kids to go into real estate. I was like, no, for real. So this is the kicker. So I was like, no, got my real estate license with FC Tucker. In my first sale, like 7 days after like signing my contract, I like signed with Tucker. 7 days later, kid you not, cannot make this up. I had a past client call me, was like, hey girl, like me and my wife are coming into town. Can we stay with you and the boys? We're thinking about moving to Indy. And hey, can you recommend a realtor? I was like, oh my God, I'm a realtor. And he was like, how you gonna go from doing my clothes to being a realtor? And I was like, I'm a realtor. So my first sale was over $2 million. Kid you not, true story. And
that is amazing.
I was like, okay.
Because like, technically when you start selling homes, you mainly bank on the fact that like you
it's 100% on commission.
Yeah, you don't get anything your first year because you're just building and learning the market and all that.
Feast or famine. That's what it's still to this day. And I've been in it for a long time and it's like feast or famine, you know? And that was my first sale. So I knew that God had like a plan for me. And I was like, all right, regardless of my heart, like really wanting to go back to the East Coast because I do miss it. And one of my best friends is there. And I was just like, okay, like, you know, this is where God has me. So it's just like, it's grown from there.
That is absolutely amazing.
It's a God story. And
like, literally, that's totally all
like,
God.
I'm like, I swear, it's like, and I, you know, like I said, Jesus is my homie.
Well, that's good though because when you share the story, you're also sharing the gospel, which is really, really cool. Yeah, and you can like point it all to Him because you had nothing to do with that at all. It was all
nothing.
Him.
I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like,
that is awesome. Wow. So then after that, did you just like kind of fall in love with selling houses and doing what you're doing?
Well, yes.
She's like, no.
Well, no, and yes.
No, I did not.
What I actually fell in love with, like, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
Like, I want to, when I have a client, I want to take care of them. Like, I do have a little rough around the edges, but I have a motherly, like, love to me. Like, let me take care of you. Let me go through this process. And I love that about real estate. I love working with first-time home buyers. It's like, let me hold your hand. Let's walk through this together. But what I have such a love for fashion because that was like my heart. Like I always wanted like my own line of clothing, what have you. And then I didn't really understand until I started getting into real estate how similar that fashion and decor is. Like everything that comes from the houses, the tile, the curtains, the couches, it all comes from the runway. Yeah. It all comes from fashion. Like when the colors come out, you know, the runways, like everything is coordinated. Everything it's just in sync with each other. So fashion drives the home industry. So I was like, man, like I get to, instead of dressing a person now, I can dress a house. Like, so it's pretty much like went from my passion of dressing people and coordinating and making them feel good and look good to creating a space now that people can walk in and love and feel like this is me, this is my home. Ooh. And that's kind of how everything started to that's and how I ended up getting into Bravo was because I started flipping houses. It's like what the devil stole, I want to rebuild. I want to give light to. You know, you walk down these streets, you know, and especially like where I'm from, you know, all the houses they're just run down or they're falling apart, and it's like being that light in that street, like coming in and creating something that's beautiful, you know. And so I really started getting into that, and I started working with investors, and we started flipping, and then that's how I ended up getting the show.
Wow, that is so cool. Yeah, I wanted to get into that. So what was the show that you were on?
So we had, it was just a quick one-seasoner. It was just, you know, just a quick one-seasoner, but it's called Flipping Exes.
Okay.
And it was not with my ex-husband. I just want to be specific, okay? It was not with my ex-husband. It was with my ex-boyfriend. And it was a clusterfuck.
Was it really?
Oh, my God. It was
Wait, so was it the premise of, like, you guys flipping, like, literally going into
literally
business?
Flipping houses. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That dynamic must have been insane.
It was okay to start with, and then it just progressively just got, like, it was a lot.
I wonder if they, like, make up these reality TV shows so that they know there's going to be all this conflict and craziness that's going to happen.
Well, you know,
obviously with a storyline like that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I will say that I had a hard time because I want to be authentic. I want to be like 100% me.
We had. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and for me, everything was like planned out. Everything was, okay, we're going to do this today. We need you to say this. We need you to, and I'm like, no, like, don't tell me how to talk. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me what, like, it was very, very hard.
It's anything but reality TV.
Yeah.
It's basically a show.
It is. And I get it because they have to, you have to go through things to have the people that are watching it understand.
Right.
So it's like, I kind of do understand both angles from it, but it was, you know, I was thinking when we first got it, when we first, you know, Bravo signed us and what have you. It was like, all right, well, maybe this will like help my business, maybe, you know, but at the end of the day, we were filming for like, God, I think it was like 9 months, and it was like 6 days a week. And it was so much that my business actually, when it was done, it like was like, wow. Because I'm like, everybody's like, Nita, where were you? Like, where you been? You know?
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty hard because I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't like promote it. So you had to like. It was
like you're having like this double life for 9 months.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Now I will say that you know there's good and bad that comes out of everything.
Sure.
You know, like there's things that I look back and I'm like, you know what, I could have done this or should have done this, and but I don't know what I don't know because I never did it before.
Right. So it's like you have to experience it on your own.
Yeah, completely. And so. You know, there is this opportunity that's kind of around right now that we're in talks with. Mm-hmm. And I would say that if I ever did something like that again, it would have to definitely be more of, I don't want to say like, not my rules, because obviously, you know, I would want input on it. Yeah. I would not want input.
Well, it's like you've gone through the experience now, and so now you know, because you're experiencing it, what you would want to make sure happens.
Yes.
And transpires versus like people telling you what to say or what to do or how to shoot or whatever.
Yeah. And what to wear.
Like, how you gonna tell me I can't wear black? Like, for real? Like, that's my
They didn't want you wearing black? No. They I kid you not. They went into my closet and they took every black piece I had out of my closet. I was like,
see, I don't understand it. Well, okay, so TV, like, I know they like the bright colors, and I know really you're supposed to kind of just stay away from white, but I didn't know and black was a thing.
Yeah. Well, and it might, okay, so what I heard through the grapevine was that, you know, when we would go into some of the houses and it was really dark, and I would be in black. But, like, do you really want me in a house that's, like, full of, like, a whole, like, no walls, nothing, in a bright pink outfit? Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Come on. Like,
well, it's like, who does that?
Yeah, and black is my signature. Like, I wear black all of the, like, every day. It's, like, black and gold. That's my jam.
What was it like to, like, have cameras around all the time?
It was so weird. It was.
Like, do you really know, like, what was there a moment when you didn't notice they were there, or you were just like, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I need to do because they're just going to be here anyways?
Kinda. Like, I guess kinda like you always knew that they were there, but I think I'm a very outgoing person. Like,
Yeah.
I have a big personality. But sometimes, like, when you're the not that it's hard to explain. It's like I don't necessarily like I can't help but have a big personality, but I
Yeah.
don't necessarily want all eyes on me.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It makes you like kind of like a little insecure. Like, is my hair okay? Do I look all right? Like,
Yeah.
do I have mascara?
Right.
Like, it kind of it's like all these people are looking at.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
you're just
can't-
having all these pairs of eyes looking at you.
Yeah. So it's kind of it was definitely it was interesting
Yeah.
to say the least. Yeah.
So you finished that season.
Yes.
Did you decide to part ways? Like, how did that end up
COVID
happening?
happened.
Oh, it was right before coding.
Yep.
Yeah, so like the world shut down.
The world shut down. Everything
Okay.
went. Everything shut down.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. But I will say that two things that came out of it that I really it was a blessing is it made me realize that when it comes to like flipping a house or working with clients, it's now I can finish the product. So when I just launched House of Sleek, which I know we'll get into, which is it's a decor and furniture store, an online store, but it's like it comes full circle. So I meet with a client, and hypothetically speaking, they're first time home buyers, and they're on a budget. Well, I've always staged my homes. And any listing that I've gotten, I've always staged it with my furniture. I've had a warehouse for the past 8 years.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
when we go ahead and they close the deal, they might they can't afford a new couch. Okay, well, let's go look at my gently used staging stuff. And they can get a couch that fits more of their budget that's gently used for staging because it's not like people were like living in it.
Right.
It was just set in a house that nobody was living in. So I feel like now it's like I can finish it with them. Like I can start the process, help them buy a house, help them close on it, and then like help them do the decor. Like what accessories you need. Like
That's really cool.
So it is pretty cool. Like and that to me is where I get like my excitement from. It's like, I tell all my clients all the time, like, I don't care if they buy a $200,000 house. I don't care if they buy $1 million house. Like what I care about is like when you get home from work and you're like pulling in your garage, like how do you feel?
Yeah.
Like I want you to love the house. Like
Yeah.
that's what gets me excited. And then like just finishing it off for them,
I love the fact that like it's like normally realtors go kind of full circle from like selling and then completing everything, but it's like you have this extra step and this extra process now, which then you create kind of like even more of a deeper relationship with the client.
Yes.
And then now they're going to recommend you. They're going to want to even maybe if they want to redo another room or do anything, they're going to
they have a
you
baby,
top of mind.
like
exactly. All of that stuff.
And that's what I love about it. Like I have a client I saw last week, and during COVID, I actually helped her redesigned her house because it was COVID and she was redoing the floor. Long story, but to make a long story short, now she's having a baby, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm going to talk to you about the nursery when we get ready." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, it's like I really kind of become part of the family, and I love that.
You have a super long relationship with them. That's amazing.
And that's what it's about. It's just about the rapport that you build. And
so did you so everything shut down, it's COVID.
Yes.
Did you I know you said did you just recently open, or like how long did you have this thing in your head like, oh, I want to be able to sell this online and have a storefront? Like how did this come into fruition for you?
Well,
what was that process like?
I don't know if we have enough time, okay? Because there's like so many things that happened in between. So, okay, so it didn't happen right away. So during COVID, and I have this, he's like my guardian angel. So one of my business partners who I flip with, I do call him my guardian angel because like literally he told me one day when we met on the show, I actually flipped one of his houses on the show. And when the show got done and everything just was like, it was just not the greatest time of my life. And he was like, "You're like a little wounded bird. I just want to help you fly." And I was like, "I need someone to help me fly. Like, my wings are broken." Like, and to this day, he's still my business partner. But what was amazing was he had all these houses that he was sitting on. So when COVID happened, we were able to flip them. So the whole time COVID was, everybody was in, we were flipping houses. You know, all the guys were safe. You know, they would wear masks, they would go in, and we would like time it where everybody knew everybody's schedule. And so we were flipping like 4 to 6 houses a month. I mean, like we were like,
oh my gosh,
it was insane. We were so busy. And then obviously I would stage them.
Yeah.
Before I sold them, because it was like literally full circle. He would say, okay, Nina, we're going to walk this house. Great. We'll walk the house. I'd walk it and I'd be like, all right, knock down this wall. Like my real estate backgrounds helped me say, okay, we got to have a pantry. We got to do this. Like there's so many things that I hear from my buyers that I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So I would completely design the house from literally the walls to the paint to the floor and coordinate everything. And it was to the point where, you know, the houses wouldn't stay on the market, and it wasn't because there was a lack of inventory. It was because they looked freaking great. Like I feel like that's something I'm really, really good at. So then I would finish it and I would stage it and then I would sell it. So then the more that I was doing that, the more I'm like, man, like I need to get some more furniture.
Yeah.
Because we're staging like 6 houses at once.
Well, that's a lot.
A lot of furniture.
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
Then I started building relationships with certain vendors. And then so over just the past like really 3-4 years, I've developed these relationships with some vendors that they basically sell furniture. Mm-hmm. So then I started going to the home show, not the indie home show, which I do have a booth at, by the way. We'll talk about that at a later date. But I just started going to like the markets and meeting vendors, and you know, like I'm kind of, you know, like I said, I have a big personality, so I'll walk into these pieces and they will like remember me. Like I remember one time I was in North Carolina at the show, and there's like over 100,000 people at this show, and this vendor comes running around the corner like Nina, and I was like, hi. And my assistant was like, do you know them? And I was like, no. He was like, do you remember me from last year? I was like, how the hell do you remember me from like last year? And it's just, you know,
that's good.
It is good. And so I just developed relationships, and then I was like, you know what? I want to put a store together. I started looking for space. I couldn't find any spaces that I could afford that was in my budget. I was working on the online store, which is a whole different, I don't know. Oh my God. It's literally been a year and like 3 months trying to get this website up and running. I've hit like one roadblock after another. Don't even get me started on shipping. I just want to like bang my head on a wall. But I've learned a lot. And so that's I'm totally on a tangent right now. And I actually forgot the question that you asked. So what was your question?
Well, I was just saying, like, how everything kind of, like, what made you want to basically, like, have your online store and
well, there you have it.
Store. That's how it went.
That's how it went.
So then when did you open your store?
Officially. The first day it snowed here. I can't even.
Are you serious?
I swear to you. So we did this.
Like the big snows?
In November, the first snowstorm.
Okay.
So we were like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a bad situation. It was really bad. So needless to say, and I didn't do enough marketing for it. Mm-hmm. So I've never had a store before. Yeah. So I've learned a lot over the past year in an online store, and I've gone through my growing pains, which real estate was really slow last year. Just election year is always a little wonky. Yeah. But I will say that I've learned a lot. So this year I'm so ready to tackle 2025 because I feel like I'm ready, and I have, you know, this lovely lady sitting over there that is I've roped in to help me do marketing and help me be my right arm because I need some help. So.
That's awesome. Well, you do need help when you have your own place, because I had my own studio when I lived in Fishers. I had a fitness studio, and I thought I could do it all.
Oh, yeah.
And I come from radio, I come from TV, I have a social media background, like all the things, and I thought, I can teach classes, and I can do online, and I can do all the things. And no, I drove myself crazy. Yeah. Basically.
And you have no time.
Yeah.
You have no time. You have no life. You have no personal life. Like you just...
And then I realized I hated it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not meant for me. And closed up shop and redid my life all over again.
Well, I hope that's not my way.
No.
I get it. I'm just messing with you. But I get it.
No, for me, I was just trying to do too much all at the same time. Yeah. And then, I was like, I already have, you say squirrel. I'm like, huh? And then, I'll do 10 things. And then all of a sudden, nothing gets done because...
You know what? We're similar in that sense. Where, not that I'm a control freak, but it's like... I have things that I want done a certain way.
Right.
And I like things a certain way, and I like the things to get set up. So it's like I can't help but like tell somebody, give them a task and be like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to do it because it's like I want it done my way. You're going to do it, and then I'm probably going to redo it. So like, might as well just do it myself.
Exactly.
But then you can't do anything else because you keep on trying to finish the 100 bazillion things that you're trying to do. So it is really tough. But I think what I've learned just in the past like 4 or 5 months is just instead of, I was always looking for like the person to help me that was like a jack of all trades, and somebody that could wear a lot of hats just like me. But at the end of the day, I just need people that are freaking good at what they do in their role.
Right.
And stop being so having to control everything and kind of give up the control a little bit, still oversee it, but allow people to do what they're good at and then focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and your situation obviously is totally different from mine. Like you have this extended base and you have this great knowledge of everything. I was just trying to I think for me personally, I was just trying to squeeze everything in and like start this new life for myself. Yeah. And then when in reality, like life really hit me during that time. And so then when life really knocked me down, I was like, I can't do it. Yeah. It was really hard. So,
however, we do need to talk about this fitness thing because, I do. Do you still do you do training on the
I do.
Well, we might need to talk. I have a little like
I have a couple clients I train every week. So, yeah, and I still teach some classes.
All right. Okay. Well, we need to talk after.
Yeah, there you go. So what are your, we are talking about 2025 and goals and all of that. Where do you see your business going in terms of, I know obviously the online has been sort of a pain point for you. Yeah. So where do you see in terms of like online and then your storefront here in Indianapolis? How do you see that kind of unfolding this year?
Well, a couple things. So I couldn't find a retail space that I wanted. Like that had good traffic, and so
that's hard to find.
It's so in I'm a ball on a budget, so there it was just.
And then you go to different parts of the city, and like you get this amount of space, and it's so much money. And then when I go to the opposite side of the city, it's like you get all more. This,
And then I had to think about like how many couches could I fit in here, how much furniture could I fit, like where, like it was just so I ended up converting my warehouse to my. Pretty much my store. It is my store. It's half my warehouse and half my store.
Oh my gosh, that's the best thing ever.
Which is actually working out kind of good because, like, for instance, today, the shipments that weren't supposed to come in until the 21st that randomly showed up at our warehouse this morning.
Oh gosh.
It's kind of good because I can get, like, the shipments in and we can unpack it, we can wrap it, we can put it together, and then we literally can just walk it to the front of the store. So it ends up, right now, it's
literally the best idea ever.
Yeah. So we, I want to grow that.
Yeah.
Right now we're only opened on Thursdays and no, wait, what are we open? We're open Thursdays and Fridays, and we're open Thursdays and Fridays, but we're doing the home show. Okay. So from January 17th to the 26th, we'll actually not be at the shop. We'll actually be at the home show because we have a booth there.
Oh, awesome!
So we have like all our products that's going to be there. But then after the show, we'll be back to being opened. And I have a lot of clients that I've been. Whether working with or a friend of a friend, and they've been coming into the shop, and they've just been texting me like, Nina, hey, is anybody there? Can I come and see what artwork you have? I'm like, yeah, come on. If somebody's there, I don't care if people go. Like, whatever. Like, I want to sell the stuff, but I love getting feedback, you know. And what we started to do before the website, we're having so many issues with the website and shipping and doing all of this. Started posting everything on Facebook, like Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so I would have people come in and it was like, I wish I had pictures of people that would walk in the door because they would like walk in and be like, wow, what is this? Like, and I'm like, welcome to my store. Like, and they're like, are you selling this stuff? And they literally would walk through the whole store and I ended up would sell. The people that have come in have bought more things when they come into the shop because they're like seeing like what we have. Yeah. And it's just like I try to be unique. Like I don't want things that you can go in and find in other places. Like I want to set myself apart from a traditional furniture store, decor store. Like anybody can go to Home Goods and it's probably gonna fall apart in 5 seconds. But no offense to Home Goods. Like I do shop at Home Goods sometimes. Okay.
What is in terms of like the decor that you have? Like what does it range from?
Well, so 2 sides. Okay. So I have the gently used stuff. the gently used staging stuff. So we call it like new. So if you go on the website, it's like new. So those are, for instance, there's a couch that I have right now. It's I think I paid probably $3,500 for the couch, and I have it listed for $1,200.
Okay.
So that's kind of a range for a couch.
Yeah.
And then that's a velvet couch as well. And then I have some decor, some artwork that I might have got for, $299. It's like $40. So it depends on the condition, but then there's also brand new stuff. Like I have a client that I sold a house to, and he was starting out from ground zero. Like he just relocated here. He had no furniture, just bought his first house, and he's like, I need couches, I need chairs, I need this. And I'm like, oh, you came to the right place. You have a great realtor because I can help you with everything, like literally. So it was cool because during the process, I got to know him really well. So, and that, and the furniture that he's gotten is anywhere from, $400 for a console up to, a couple $1,000s for a dining table. So
wow.
It's kind of all over the place. But I really try to fit within people's budgets, like, listen, Nina, I want to redo my living room and I want you to help me with the furniture, but this is my budget. Okay, well, let me see what I can work with.
Yeah, that's awesome because I think sometimes people have this preconceived notion that they can't afford something like that in terms of wanting to redo their space or wanting to just update a couple of things that that's made for people with other budgets.
Yeah, and that was the whole point because my clients that I've worked with, they can some of them can afford a $1 million, $2 million house.
Yeah,
but some of them can afford $250,000, $300,000, and I wanted to be able to not. I used to hate it. I used to hate it when people would say to me, oh, well, you work with all high-end buyers. You work with $1 million listings. Like, no, yes, I do, but that's not, I'm not going to, I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
I love my first-time home buyers. And 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to be buying $1 million house.
Right.
But it's the relationship that I build with them. And, whether they might not be married, they might be engaged, and seeing them kind of go through their lives. And those are the ones that I have the greatest relationships with now.
Yeah.
And one of them popped by my store the other day and brought their daughter. And I was like, I didn't want to give the daughter up. I was like, oh, my God, come to TT, come to TT. I was like, they just become your family. And
I love
so
that.
I like the fact that I can help people that are on different budgets.
Cool.
The higher end people, I love to be able to basically style the room. But then, the people that are on a budget, I like trying to help them make their house a home,
So the home show is, when is it? What are those dates again?
Friday, the 17th to the 26th.
Okay. Oh, so it's not just I couldn't remember what the home show of it was, a full week thing.
It's 10 days.
Okay.
It's a little bit
awesome.
more than
okay.
10 days. Yeah.
So then they could come by and they can see, are you guys having it kind of, are you staging your booth?
Yes. And you will, I am sure that there will not be another booth that's hot pink and black because so if you see a hot pink and black booth, then it's me. It's me.
That's awesome.
I like I try to do the feminine and the masculine.
Okay.
I
cool.
try to have a little bit of both.
Okay.
And I don't want to only go after one specific client, even though, a lot of times happy wife is happy life. So I do kind of, I like the feminine part, which is why I put the hot pink. But, I do know some guys that rock some hot pink and look good in it. So, but obviously, so I did the booth on purpose because, at the home show, everybody's booth is pretty, neutral shades and nobody. And,
I was gonna say nobody. Typically, when you go to those shows of any kind, it's very vanilla.
Very vanilla, and I'm not very vanilla.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't make me want to stop and be like, what is this?
Yeah. So I did a hot pink booth last year, and even though a lot of people, I wasn't really selling this stuff. It was more I was focusing more on. Letting people know we were going to start it.
Yeah.
And we were still working out all the kinks, and I was still doing, designing in real estate. So I was able to kind of coordinate that with it. But everybody was like, hot pink, and everybody would stop and kind of
awesome.
look. And I was like, okay, my plan worked.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Very cool. And so your website now is Did it
Yes.
officially kick off yet
Yes,
or no?
yes,
It did.
yes.
Okay.
It has officially kicked off. It's houseofsleek.com.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about it. I've worked really hard on it for the past year and gone through a lot of ups and downs. And I was actually with a bunch of my friends on Saturday night, and one of my girlfriends was like, "Hey, I was on your website, and it's easy. You can shop easy, looks great." And I was like, "Oh,
You're
finally!"
like, that is all
like,
that I just wanted to hear.
That is literally all I wanted to hear. So I was so excited about it because it's like, it's your baby. You like build this up.
When you like work on something for so long and make 5 million changes,
Yes.
you just wanted to see it go.
Yes, that it's finally up and running, and it's my baby, and it's great. So I'm super pumped up about it.
That's awesome.
So hopefully you'll come by the show.
I was gonna say, like, either if I don't come to the show, I'm for sure gonna come to your store, because I definitely want to do some additional video and footage of just the layout and the cool stuff that you have. So that would be fabulous. That would be so fun.
We should also, you know what we should do? We should do like a little like women's events at the like do like a sip and like shop or something, and like have like people come.
So
and
this is fun. Ashley is my co-host for After Dark. She's kind of helping me more with the podcast, but this year we're actually launching live podcast remotes.
No.
So like we will live stream on all of our platforms.
Okay.
And do a podcast, and then so you have the live version where it's going out to everybody, and then you have the recorded podcast. And so we're pitching it to like going to events and places of businesses and all of that stuff. So that would be perfect. That would be so fun.
That'd be cool. And maybe like I could even ask some of my clients that like own businesses. Like one of my clients does like crystal healing, and like we could do a bunch of different
a whole bunch of different stuff.
And have people come, and then you could like interview people, and I'm all about like women empowerment. Like let's make everybody successful.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. What would you say to somebody who, I mean, because I obviously know, like, I think us women who have that more entrepreneur spirit and that drive to get things done, like, we all work a certain way in order to do that. What would you say to somebody who is looking to be that woman but is not quite there yet and is maybe questioning what she's doing and wants to get in more the realtor design space? Like, what kind of advice would you give somebody like that?
I would say regardless of whether it's real estate design or just starting a business, like I can only say from my experience, I would say be prayerful. Be prayerful. And I'm not saying that you have to, I believe in Jesus. Like I love him, but it could be, whoever your higher power is, be prayerful, and see if that's the road that you should go on. Because at the end of the day,
discernment.
Yeah. I always thought that I was going to have a fashion boutique. I was going to have a fashion line. Like that's what if it was up to me, that's what I would have done. So I feel like
what you would have done.
I would have done.
God wanted you to do.
Exactly. So I feel like that's where I feel like people get twisted. I feel like sometimes we get in our own, because we're human, we're in our flesh, and like we want what we want when we want it. And at the end of the day, is it what is really good for us?
Right.
Is it where we can be successful? And I think that's where it starts. So wherever somebody wants to do, just get in a space of being quiet and figuring out, like, is this what I should do? And then I feel like once you get in the role, everything starts falling into place, and be ready to not make money at first, like for real. Because when you're starting a business,
that is all of us. Oh my gosh,
it is. Like you think about like we put our heart, our soul, our finances, everything. Like when you can have people that believe in you, but if I'm gonna bet on something, I'm gonna bet on myself because I know I'm gonna do it. And I know I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
So if you can't be wishy-washy on it, because if you're wishy-washy on it, then it's probably not meant to be. So maybe you should get out of that lane and get into something that is meant to be.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be successful. And I think that's the biggest thing that I feel like some women, not even just women, just people in general.
Yeah.
They want what they want, and maybe it's just not the right time. And so I think that working hard and finding people that sometimes like doors open, you start walking through a door and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then, God might put somebody in your path and it'd be like, okay, well, maybe this is the field I want to be in, but maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I want to go over here. And I feel like doors will open to what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
As long as you work hard. Like I don't feel bad for people that say that, I've been trying to grow this business, but then they're out every night, they're drinking, they're taking like they're not focusing on their business.
Right.
Like, don't tell me you're trying to be successful and then not put in the work.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
you got to put in the work. If you put in the work with whatever you do, you're going to be successful. And you can't sit there and blame other people or like, well, this didn't go. Like, I've started my business with no money. Like, I've had money, I've lost money, I've had money again, lost money. Like that's just how it is. It's just how it is when you start businesses.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, if I'm going to put my own money into something, I know I'm going to be successful. Like, there's nobody that's going to say that I'm not, regardless of whatever my business is. And I think that having that confidence and knowing that you're opened to the other avenues that might be open to you. Like, you could tell me 15 years ago that I was going to love doing design work and want to have a boutique with furniture. I'd be like, you crazy. I don't want to do that. I want to have a fashion line. I want to be like the next, like, Victoria Beckham. You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, it wasn't what I was supposed to do.
Oh my gosh. Like, all this that you're saying is so freaking good right now, right? She's giving me the wrap up thing.
Thank you. Like I said, like, I do think that women, like, as women, like, we do a lot.
Yeah.
We have the kids. Like, I've raised 2 kids doing real estate, like, by myself with no family here. And so I feel like when you put your mind to it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because where there's a will, there's a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. You know me. I
just
keep on going and going and going.
But I especially love the part where you say that, for anybody, really, not just for women, but to, like, get in, like, your own space, find that peace, to try and just figure some things out. Because I know specifically for me, when, like, God has put me on a path of something, I do not listen very well because I always think like, oh, but what, I'm such an overthinker. Yeah. So he literally has to, like, hit me over the head with something to, like, knock me down. Yep. And then I'm like, I get it. Okay. Yeah. Well, why'd you tell me 20 years ago?
And he's probably like, well, I didn't. You didn't listen. Exactly. And that's I would say, like, the younger generation, that is the one thing I would say to them. Yeah. Like just stop going on the phone. Like, everybody, like, you go anywhere, everybody's, like, on the phone, everybody on TikTok, everybody on this. Like, just, like, sit by yourself. Like, be, like, find out who you are. Like, figure out what you want to do. Like, stop wanting to be what's on the phone and what's on
Somebody
TV.
else.
Because at the end of the day, it's not reality. It's so not. True. So just,
because you lived it.
I lived it. Yeah. Like, it's not. Like, so, and they have so many filters and all of this. Just be you. Just be you and you'll be successful.
Oh my gosh, I love this. This is all so freaking good. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
I'll make sure we'll go ahead and share, like, all the stuff about the home show just to make sure everybody's there. And watch out for your space in hot pink.
Yes. And black.
Hot pink and black. Gotta have the black in there. And then also on the blog, we'll make sure to have your information about your store and where you're located. And then, be on the lookout because I definitely will want to come by to your place and take some video and stuff of everything.
Thank you. You are awesome.
No, thanks for coming. This is amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for watching this latest episode of Behind the Filter. You can get all details on Nina Klemm and her business and all the things online at my website at JohnetteCruz.com.